First, at a tumultuous time, we need to keep our eye on enduring U.S. interests. In my written submission, I said we're going through a kind of historical hurricane in which the global economic order that the United States effectively created and championed for decades was being upended. The Trump administration's tariffs and disruption of the institutions and norms of that order are clearly the latest phase of that storm. But you could argue the order has been teetering since the first decade of this century, buffeted by the so-called China shock, the inflows of cheap manufactured goods before and after China joined the WTO in 2001 that devastated certain sectors and geographies in the United States, and the global financial crisis later that decade. And of course, we've had the emergence of other risks, from global pandemics to climate change to technological developments that have given rise to a new area of policy in Washington, economic security, or managing economic-related risks to that threaten national security or the foundations of the economy. When you're in a hurricane, naturally your focus is on protecting your family and property, on battening down the hatches, on ducking and covering, and it's hard to see past the storm to the landscape beyond. But for the United States, we have other enduring interests that go beyond just protecting ourselves. To advance our economic and strategic interests, we need to engage affirmatively in the global economy. Economically, we need trade and investment, fair and resilient trade and investment, to tap into the 3/4 of the global economy and 95% of consumers located outside the United States. Strategically, we need to complement our military presence around the world with economic engagement. Our allies and partners want us to do both. And we have what I call strategic economic interests, namely the need to continue championing our preferred rules, norms, and standards around the world, while others are seeking to champion theirs. As this committee knows well, all of these interests, economic, strategic, and strategic economic, are especially important in the Asia-Pacific region, where most of our big challenges and opportunities lie. I'm very concerned that we have no Asian economic strategy to speak of at the moment, and arguably haven't for a number of years, leaving others to move ahead with their own arrangements to advance their economic and strategic interests and spread their own preferred rules. Against this backdrop, my second point is that the United States needs a smart economic statecraft to advance our interests. Economic statecraft is a two-sided coin, using U.S. economic power and leverage to advance our strategic and foreign policy interests, and using our diplomacy to advance our economic interests. Smart economic statecraft needs to be balanced, especially between defensive and offensive efforts. We need to both protect and promote our economic interests through policies ranging from export controls to affirmative trade negotiations. We also need to balance costs and benefits and balance international and domestic policies to make sure that we're maximizing our economic position and our strategic benefits, and to win the support of Americans, which is very important. Strategic economic statecraft also needs to be leveraged in the sense that the U.S. government alone doesn't have the resources and capabilities to do everything we need to do. We need to crowd in both the private sector and our allies and partners to reinforce our statecraft on both the offensive and defensive sides. My third and final point is that all of this requires a capable State Department that puts a priority on economic diplomacy. States' comparative advantage among U.S. government agencies is its reach, its presence in 175 countries around the world, and ability to operate across government and society in those countries. The so-called E-line at state, where the economic bureaus are housed, is one of the few parts of the U.S. government that works on both promote and protect sides of the economic statecraft. Everything from commercial advocacy to economic security, such as the Mineral Securities Partnership that Congressman Barra mentioned, and pushing back on economic coercion, for example. They've done a lot of great work there. What the State Department needs is a culture that values economic work more highly, and this in turn requires leadership and signaling from the top and resources to do the job. And I fear that the cuts to states' budget that have been proposed will come disproportionately at the expense of the department's economic functions.